And often when we are discussing with founders, the discussion is very separate for D2C brands versus B2B brands. And what I've realized over, last decade or so, most of the stories which are discussed in the meetings usually come from consumer brands when we are discussing a B2B case, right? B2B is totally different when you think about branding, etc., etc. So what is your observation of differentiation when we think about branding and awareness for B2C versus B2B?
So, I mean, with the advent of various digital platforms, the lines are blurring. While it's still B2B, and you have to reach out to a CFO, for example, or whatever, some technical officer or something. Both, B2B borrows heavily from the storytelling narratives methods. I mean, if you look at the world's largest IT companies, okay, you will see a human story somewhere in their branding efforts. Okay, so this is a product, this is what it does, and this is how it helps the common man. And the story will start with the common man, how his life is transformed because of that, some B2B product. So, I remember when I was in advertising about 30 years back, it was just a mailer kind of thing to a particular person in the company, right? Usually the technical head or the financial head or something. That has stopped, right? So, because of digital and its ability to reach a lot of people very quickly, okay, so these stories, narratives are happening. And so, it's a culture of likes, how many shares, and so on. It's not just, talking to one person. So, I mean, the fundamental thing is still it's become storytelling.
Right. And how do you become a good storyteller? Because a lot of times when founders are meeting stakeholders, let's say investors or other folks, and this has a lot to do with storytelling. Like, are you appealing to what I want to hear, maybe my emotions, etc., etc., or are you making your vision more believable to me? Right? Although we have all these numbers on slides where we show, okay, this is what the TAM is, this is how big is the market, this is the gap, right? So how does one, from a young founder perspective, become a good storyteller?
So I have a position of this. I have a point of view on this. So I see a lot of young founders, attach too much importance to narratives, storytellings, and all that, completely forgetting the product. Right. One needs to remember that Google didn't have really do any narrative storytelling or something. If you have a great tech product which has a huge advantage, you do your storytelling a little later. Of course you have to do, but you do it a later, focus on a product. So in my view, even fantastic storytelling is not going to cover up a bad product or a bad service. Okay, no matter how good your story is. So focus on your product and see how it genuinely helps people. Okay, then craft out some authentic, use cases or something like that. Your storytelling starts from there. Okay, so and storytelling is basically, it's like a product demo in a sense. It's like a product demo or a service demo. But, your audience is, they have their, if you dig a little deeper into their behavioral, trends and so on, you'll find many threads, So, you kind of plug into those threads and build a story around it. So, I mean, something like that. You start there. It's a product demo, basically.
Right.
But it's not about the product. It's about the effect of the product on the consumer.
And the timing also matters.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Even if the product is good, is the market ready?
Yeah, I mean, one storytelling, one of the best examples I can give is, with Coca-Cola. So what is it? It's just sugar and water. That's it. It's a lot of people think it's not even very healthy, right? Now in this current context, but what it did very well is to tell a lot of stories about people enjoying life at a very simplistic level. Okay, young people or if you see Coca-Cola ads on TV, I haven't seen too many now, but when we used to do it, there would always be a family sitting around a table, and the son is a student in some other city. He's trying to come back, and there's Coca-Cola involved in his journey, something like that. It was always
Right.
a story, and the Coke, the bottle was central to the story. So similarly, your product can be anything, but try and put the product or the product benefit, not product literally, it could be the benefit also sometimes, intrinsic, central to the story. A lot of what I've seen in a lot of ad agencies is people, the story consumes the product, kills the product. It's such a great story, right? Brand owners, your startup or whoever it is, must be careful that the product is the hero, not the story. So this is a mistake I see. I don't know, 60-70% of startups or whatever, even legacy brands making. So one needs to be careful.
Right. Right. So product quality, feedback, storytelling, and timing. I think all
Yeah.
of these have to align
Yeah,
for
correct.
the awareness to work and that story to really stick to your consumer or whoever you're trying to sell it.
Yeah, Zomato does a fairly good job. You must have seen those short videos of their logistics, delivery
Yeah.
stuff, right? So it's always about how being a Zomato, delivery person has affected their lives, made it slightly better, something like that. So that's a narrative, that's a story. So what happens? Do you sell more, food because of that? You don't, but you get the feeling that these people are important. So ultimately a brand has to be human. It must be a like a productive contributing member of society. So which is why one word which is not very used these days is community building. So one role of a good strong brand is to build the community, bring people together. It must be inclusive. It's not just about the product, it's about the people, bringing people together, which Airbnb has done very well. Strangers coming together, that kind of thing. So my favorite, brand stories are always about strangers coming together. Coca-Cola does it. Airbnb has done it. Okay. In the startup, I was a startup involved with 2-3 startups in the past. So it's always, it's okay. Your product is selling, it's fine. But for example, I was in a women's athletic wear kind of thing, and I was always trying to, always asking myself and my co-founders, how do we build a community? It's okay. You can sell a running T-shirt or a shorts, running shorts and all that. But for me, more important was building a community, which we could not. I should be honest about it. Uh, but that was the priority. How do I make people come and hang out with me because they're getting something without even buying? That's okay. All right. Like these cycling groups that you have. Actually, Royal Enfield does it pretty well. You may have seen the Royal
Right.
Enfield thing. So it's a community. They're not selling bikes at all. But if you go to Royal Enfield and you hang out in that, I think it was a blog, I'm talking about 10-15 years back, okay, you will never go anywhere else. You've become a part of the Bullet family. So that family thing, community, or whatever you call it, is super important for brand building. I know there are a lot of brands which are celebrating the individual, which is fine. Like Apple is not about family. Okay, Apple is celebrating you, very luxury, high-end fashion. It's about celebrating the individual, but it's still a cult. It is still, I am one of the few. So I may not be the Coca-Cola, everyone coming together, because Coke, don't forget, is a mass audience. But a Prada is always, I'm one of the 5 people in this country who own a Prada. That kind of it has to belong to something. A brand is, it's about feeling, I belong to this. I'm special. A brand has to, anyway, I'm kind of drifting, but, generally that's the
But yeah,
direction.
I mean that is a very native desire in humans. Either we are status seeking or we are money seeking for safety. So this exclusivity serves that need, that I have that status, that I am one of the few. So that is a very innate desire deep rooted in all of us. Why do we go for certain, and premium luxury brands exploit that to the maximum, right? That, okay, let's say Patek Philippe, which is a luxury watch. Many people may not know if they are not watch enthusiasts, right? They will know Rolex, but they will not know this, right? So probably you can, let's say if you are in New York, you can probably see it on display, but you cannot buy it because
I've heard
probably
of
you
that.
are not on the list,
That's
or they will just say it's not available.
That's right.
But it's at the Tiffany's, you can see it on the display. But so it works that way.